Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing an off-road review with the 2022 Chevy Colorado ZR2. We're first going to get into some quick specs on the ZR2. That'll be like 30 seconds, and then we'll get right into the off-roading. First and foremost, so I do want to mention that my car buying guide is available for sale, so if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to that in the description down below. Let's get right into the video. Now some quick specs. We've got about 10 inches of ground clearance, and then you can see here with these skid plates underneath to protect everything. We've got the red tow hooks there on the front end, and then from a tire perspective, you can see these aggressive all-terrain tires. I think they're 31s technically, and then I'll actually pop the rear so you can see the shocks a little bit better. We've got the Multimatic DSS-V shocks. They're the spool valve shocks, pretty advanced system, so we'll see how that handles off-road. And you can see with everything put together, has a pretty cool stance. And yeah, like I said, let's just get right into the off-roading. Okay, so we are starting the off-road review. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with my channel, with these off-road reviews, I actually film all the exterior shots before I do any of this point of view driving where I'm giving you guys driving impressions. So I'm talking about these trails. I've already driven through them. So I do that to try to give you guys better impressions rather than, going through it the first time and being like, I don't know what's happening. So anyways, as for this hill, going up and down the hill, super easy here with the ZR2. So in terms of going up the hill, torque is great. And this has a cool function called hill start assist. So I'll stop right here just to demonstrate. So let's put it in park and back into drive. Hill start assist active, right? It'll say that, but you don't have to put it into park to have the hill start assist work, I don't think. Let's see. So I'm gonna go up again, and we're just gonna stop. And it's rolling back, and it's rolling back. Okay, maybe we do have to put it in park. Anyways, it does have hill start assist. So I guess it just like a trick while you're off-roading, if you want that, just put it into park quickly and then pull it out. If you guys know any other way to get it to activate, let me know. But regardless, the hill start assist helps out a lot if you have to stop for any reason on something like this, in terms of just getting up and moving rather than having that nasty rollback that you just saw. Now, I also went down the hill. I'm not going to show that in the footage because I don't want this video to be terribly long, so I can just tell you to save you guys time. Going down the hill, I used hill descent control for half the time, and then the other half of the time I just did it myself. The hill descent control system's really good. My only complaint with the hill descent control system is it seemed pretty slow. I was pressing the plus button, but it didn't seem like it sped it up all that much. And then the other thing is, it's pretty interesting to hear the sounds of the hill descent control system. But overall, I don't really have any like major complaints about it. But yeah, going up and down this hill does fantastic. And this is really just to show tire grip. You do need a little bit of ground clearance. So like, if you try to climb up this hill and you've got like less than 7 inches, I'd say, you're probably going to be scraping on the bottom on several portions. I know that from personal experience. So yeah, you're gonna need at least 7 inches of ground clearance. This having 10 inches is more than enough. But the biggest thing is the tire grip. So like, I can just muscle through. And I guess this also will allow us to talk about this V6 a little bit. I've seen a lot of people comment that like the diesel is the only way to go with the Colorado. And with any of GM's products, because I see people comment that all the time on my reviews with like the Chevy Trail Boss and now these ZR2s, people are like, oh, it should have a diesel. This has so much torque though. And I haven't had a situation while off-roading yet with this where I'm like, man, I really wish I had more low-end torque. I feel like it just always just scoots up and down everything, and it doesn't even really try, which is great. This is always a nerve-wracking thing to come down, because I got to come down at just the right angle. And ah fun. Going up, it's even more fun, so to speak. But you can see, goes down the movement fantastic. In terms of that movement, you're gonna need at least 10 inches of ground clearance. The reason I know that is I took a Nissan Frontier over that. I still haven't posted that video. I'm so bad at editing. I'm sorry, guys. But long story short, I took a Nissan Frontier through that movement, and that has like 9 point something inches of ground clearance, and I scraped the frame going down it. So suffice to say, you need at least 10 inches to go down that. And I'm sure I'm gonna get some that's what she said comments in the comment section down below. But hopefully point is made on that particular movement. Now this one is a little bit more interesting. So it's you need a little bit, like probably on this one with the Frontier, if I remember. The Frontier did fine. Ranger Tremor did fine on this as well. So yeah, you don't really need a whole lot of ground clearance on this. You just have to angle it properly, and you can kind of get down. You don't have to worry about scraping anything. But yeah, you can see again, like I'm just in 4-wheel high, and I was able to make it down both of those movements super easy. So we are back at it again. I also noticed that if you go from reverse to drive, the hill start assist will pop on. So with the first time I went through this one, with the exterior video you guys will see, that was actually with the rear end locked. I have the rear end unlocked this time because I want to see if that really helped out, having the rear end locked. And the answer is no. So, wow. Having the rear end locked kind of made it so the truck skipped a little bit, and it actually impeded traction. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting to see that happen. You know, it just depends. This is a lot of loose gravel here. If this was like super slick rock, yeah, you definitely are going to want to have the front and rear locked if you're climbing up stuff. But, you know, this being like loose rock, you kind of don't want everything to be moving at the same speed because there's just so much happening underneath the truck. So definitely, you know, take that into consideration. Oof. And this last movement here, this is pretty straightforward. Just gotta approach it slowly. And again, don't have the rear end locked. Oh, yeah, doesn't even want to go up. Doesn't even want to go up. So we're gonna put it in neutral. Rear locker. Oh, is it not gonna go in? Okay, we're neutral. Yeah, it doesn't want to. Oh, there we go. No, is it? Yeah, it's on. Okay. Oh, there we go. So let's try that again with the rear ends locked. Okay, there we go. A little bit of traction issues. Little bit. Oh, a little bit of traction issues, but. We made it up. So on that movement, it helped out having the rear ends locked. Last thing I want to mention, before we get into the high-speed stuff, because this is going to be just a quick off-road video, I'm trying to make it so that the video is combined into one rather than having two separate videos, because it seems like it does better that way. Anyways, this truck does really well at crawling. The only downside is it doesn't have Chevy's cool 360 camera system, which, since I know these trails like the back of my hand, it's really easy for me to go through them. But if I wasn't familiar with these trails, I don't think I would have been able to go through them that easily, because again, look, not having a spotter or anything and this not having 360 camera system, I do think that's a downside. But let's get into the high-speed stuff. So starting off with the high-speed stuff with the Colorado, and well, it has been an interesting adventure. You guys will like the very last part of the video, because of course, you know, since we did the fun stuff with the Ranger Tremor, we had to do the same fun stuff here with the Colorado ZR2 as well, to see if these DSSV shocks from Multimatic, you know, compared to the suspension setup in the Ranger Tremor. And spoiler alerts, I can tell you, they definitely do. But let's talk about how this actually performs at higher speeds. First thing that I want to mention is I have been super impressed with just the overall capability of this truck. Crawling test, again, it did really well. There were some, you know, points where I just wasn't in the right mode, right, when I didn't have the rear end locked earlier. But for the most part, right, just having all the computers off. I'm in two-wheel drive right now, if you guys are wondering. And then I'm in the off-road mode. Truck performs flawlessly, and the handling on it is amazing. My friend that was driving for the exterior well, I mean, it was actually me driving, but the point that I'm trying to make is he owns a Gen 2 Raptor. Now his is the first version of the Gen 2, so it doesn't have live valve, but it still has the Fox shocks, and he says this rides just as smooth as his truck. And so this really is basically a baby Raptor from Chevy. It doesn't have the power, but you know, smaller size, so you can fit down trails easier, and it still has leaf springs, so this is more like a baby Gen 2, not like a baby Gen 3. But you seriously, you can really hold speed in this truck, just like you can with the Gen 2 Raptor down these trails. It's very impressive, to say the least. We're gonna go around the outside here. And something else that I'm gonna mention with the truck is it gets so much grip in two-wheel drive. Like, there's no reason to go in four-wheel drive on any of these fun, you know, Baja type trails. Now let's see how fast we can get up here. I gotta beat the exterior shot speed. Okay, because the exterior shot was filmed at like 70-ish miles an hour. And so we you know, we had to just beat that by a little bit. But yeah, super impressive, super impressive. The one thing that I will have a slight complaint about, but it's not really valid, I will say that, is the fact that it's not like paddle shifters or anything. So it does have a manual shift function GoPro jumped on the gear selector, but when I'm off-roading like this, I don't want to take my hands off the steering wheel. I want to keep my hands on the steering wheel the entire time, and so it's kind of like a safety thing for me. It looks like we got a biker up here, so we're gonna oh, are they turning around? Are they getting okay? They're turning around. Maybe they're gonna let me go by. Let's see. Is he letting me go by? Nope. Is he? Is he? Kind of go slow through here just so we can. Gotta go over a big bump, anyways. Okay. So, as I was saying, before we got interrupted, yeah, I wish I could manually shift and have my hands on the steering wheel at the same time. And so since I can't do that, I'm at the mercy of wherever the transmission wants to gear, which this is, you know, tuned for fuel economy, right? And so, and also look at the dampers here. Whoop! Compression point, and then we're gonna hit really hard here. Oh! And it just handles it. And the GoPro doesn't. The GoPro flies off my head. Oh, there again. So the truck, trust me, the truck's not, it's the GoPro, okay? Anyways, yeah, so since it's kind of like trying to get the best possible fuel economy, it's at really low RPMs. And again, I could just like throw it into the manual mode and then just hold it at like 3. So like this is fine. But the only problem is if I do have to shift, right, I have to then take my hand off the steering wheel quickly, and I don't know, I don't like that. And also there's no like definitive red line on the tachometer, so I don't know when to shift, right? There's not like, it's all the same color. So yeah, see right there, I had to go down to second and then first. So yeah, it's a little bit of a downside, but I guess to sum things up here with the ZR2 with the high speed stuff and then all of the off-roading, really good at crawling, and the shocks are amazing and they can absorb high speed stuff really well. And so it's just a really well-rounded mid-sized truck. It's, I mean, $45,000. It's very affordable. So there's definitely a lot to love here about the ZR2. There's a couple things that I'd change with it, right? Hopefully the next generation ZR2 won't have leaf springs. We'll see what happens. But at least for this version, we still have the leaf springs, which is a little bit of a downside for an off-road truck, but it does fine. The shocks are, like I said, the shocks are amazing. Handling's amazing. Transmission engine setup's great. Like, I really like it. It's just, like I said, since it doesn't have paddles, you do have to kind of do the gear selector thing, which isn't preferable. So there, you know, there's a couple downsides, but I guess from an off-road perspective, there is not another mid-sized truck that I feel like really compares to this until Ford releases the Ranger Raptor here in the US. So it's kind of like the king of the off-road for mid-sized trucks right now. Okay, so we're gonna, you know, do a little bit of a jump. Better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's all I gotta say on this one. Ooh. Well, the GoPro went all over the place, so sorry about the point of view, but that's a jump.